How's it going, everybody? We are back once again. God, am I late? Things have stacked up since I've been gone, and I would love if I could not spend the entirety of my mid-20s cleaning up after COVID patients. That'd be awesome. I would love that. So if this whole thing could just end, that'd be great. But things have piled up since I've been gone. We've gotten lots of reveals, and I just kind of want to power through them. I want to get back to doing things that I'm planning. After this, I want to do a channel update, kind of get a general rundown of what I'm going to be doing from here on out, and then I have a couple more deck profiles that I've been kind of sitting on that I want to do. And yeah, that's been the general idea, but because I've been so busy, I've been falling behind on the things that I want to do annually, like this. So I'm gonna try to power through this. I'm not gonna like skimp on the details, but I'm definitely not gonna sit here and dwell on the things that aren't important. Obviously there are triggers that came out in the set. I'm not going to go over those. The generic like 12k dude, the 15k shield, I don't care about those. As of right now, there's only two commons and like a unspecified grade that I'm probably sure is going to be like an order coming out. And unless there's something absolutely amazing and game changing, I'm really just not going to go over it until like the deck profile itself. And just because I don't think it's going to add any more substance, so I just go over a couple like triggers and everything. So let's do that. Boy, am I tired. All right. So, hi, how's everybody been? We've got some reveals. We've got some stuff that came out. And let's start with the promo that we probably won't get for at least a year. Area Stealer. Now, I actually don't know if this is the card's name. The problem is that I went and looked it up, and I can't find it on the wiki. I can only find it on the Facebook post that I found it on originally. And yeah, I don't know if that's the actual card's name. So these translations get, so flip-flopped. But Area Stealer is, if there is a marker on any fighter, circle, or unit, Soul Blast 1 grade 3 and get an imaginary gift protect. Yeah, this is amazing. I love this card. Gridora typically doesn't use grade 3s. The new machining support doesn't either. This is a really good card. I don't know if we'd ever get it, but hey, maybe, maybe after we get that Claret support. Anyway, let's jump to the next card. So this is probably the best thing to come out in this set. Honestly, just the best support card, hands down. This is Disturbance Mutant Morsororo. Morsororo. Okay. We're going to call her Morris. Retire this unit. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards with a cradle marker on it. Retire it. Call up to one card of the same grade as that unit from your deck to rear guard. Shuffle your deck. This ability can only be used by a card of the same name once per turn. Wow. This card is amazing. Absolutely just 10 out of 10. Fantastic. Best support in this entire set. I love this card. This is an instant +1. You retire this, you get any resource you need from your deck, and then immediately plus off that cradle marker. This is awesome. Not only is this really good if sufficient field setup, it's field control, it's deck thinning, it is just everything that this deck needs in a card, and I think it is fantastic. I adore this card down to the minimal detail. It is absolutely fantastic. Next card, not so much. Oh my god, why did they even bother? Yeah, Shredding Mutant Kill Trash, and Trash is definitely a fitting name. So, I want to point out this has no marker. First off, Vanguard only, Counterblast 2, and rest this unit, and your opponent cannot stand his or her rear guards during his or her next standby phase. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I like to look at things positively. I like to look at cards that have potential and say, oh yeah, there's something here. If this dude was like, Counterblast 2, rest him on Vanguard, the whole field rests, and your opponent can't stand anything at all, right? Can't call, can't stand. It just basically like it's like a one big hard like turn skip. I would be up for goofing off with this card. But no, he is a markerless grade 3 that only on Vanguard is a Counterblast 2. Rest him, and your opponent can't stand any of their rear guards during the next standby phase. I don't know. I don't get it. It's a common, and I get it. It's got really cool art. I think that's what bothers me the most is the cards that are bad like this always have the coolest art. So I don't know. Let's just go to the next card. So we got this card's really cute. First off, I love this boy. Turbulent Signal. Cannibal Swarm, retire this unit. Put the top card of your opponent's deck into the drop zone. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards without a cradle marker. For each grade of that card, put a cradle marker on it. So in Gridora, this card's it's cute, but it's not great. It has a Counterblast, and Gridora is already kind of shaping up to be a pretty Counterblast heavy deck, facing like mid to high range and like resource requirements. So a card like this that's kind of like a random chance isn't super great, but for those of you who are big Kolio fans, because Kolio can still be a very viable deck and is still going to get a bit of a help out from the support, this card's fantastic. I think it actually really works well in Kolio. It's good for like a 3 of. Absolutely has a little bit of cradle, interaction, not a ton. It kind of turns it more into like a stun aspect in Kolio rather than like a resource grab. But I like this a lot. I think it's pretty cute, and I definitely think I'll be putting it in my Kolio build when that becomes something that I work on. And then we have Dorcas. Obviously, I don't know if I actually went over this in my last video. I don't think I did, but Dorcas came out finally. Woo! I love this guy. He's cute, and he's probably one of my favorite Mega Colony cards just in the entire lineup. I love him to death. So his 5k ability is if your opponent has no standing units, he gains 5k, super easy. And then of course, look at your top 5 for a grade 3, yada yada. We all know what these cards do. But let's get to the meat of this, right? Machining got new support, and I'm very intrigued with this because machining was something that I knew would get support, but I was very skeptical in what direction it would go in. Stag Beetle has been just the top boy since day 1 of Standard, and that still reigns true. But now he has a partner in crime, and they're very interesting in how they work together. So the grade 3 triple rare in this lineup is Machining Meteo Bullets, and I'm pretty sure it's based off the Bombardier Beetle. I don't know for sure, but it looks kind of like it. Vanguard or rear guard, if you have 5 or more rear guards, all of your rear guards with Machining and its card name get boost. Vanguard or rear guard, act once per turn, rest another rear guard with Machining and its card name, and this unit gets plus 10,000 until the end of the turn. So I'm going to go over all the machining cards because they're kind of like a general thought process, but put a tab in this guy for right now. The next one is the grade 2, which is Machining Scatterhorn. Vanguard or rear guard, when placed from hand, look at top 6 cards from your deck. Reveal up to 1 card with Machining its card name, other than a grade 2. From among them, put it in your hand. Shuffle your deck. Put a card into your hand, and then put a card from it into your hand, and then put a card from your hand to the soul. Soul bust 1, rest a rear guard with Machining its card name. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards. That unit cannot stand until the opponent's next standby phase. And then we've got Machining Psybuster. Psybuster? Psybister. Yeah, Psybister. When rested by your card's ability, look at top 3 cards of your deck, call up the 1 card of the Machining its card name from them to rear guard, and put the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. This ability may only be used by a card with the same name once per turn. So, wow. We've got more consistency, we've got more aggression, and now we have a sort of focus on filling the field back into the old setup with Destroyer, where Destroyer required you to have I think 4 machinings on the field. It was something like 3 or 4, something like that. It's been a while. So let's back it up to the grade 1, right? Both of these boys rest units as a cost. This boy immediately lets you plus off of that. Looking at your top 3, calling a unit. It's kind of a shame you can only use 1 per turn, because I feel like this isn't you know, it's abusable, but not heavily so, as in like the way like the main would be. This card's still a random lotto pull at the end of the day, but I can kind of understand it. Fantastic card, an amazing combo piece to an amazing engine that Machining has gotten. But the grade 2 is really nice because my grade 2 lineup from like my Theorycraft, you know, first impression build would probably just be 4 Mantis and 4 of this guy, because all the other grade 2s in the lineup really aren't super important, especially because a lot of these now require you to interact with machinings directly, and you don't want to have a lot of non-machining cards. This card is fantastic for that very reason, because it is just a point simple, just very clear, just search. And I love the way this guy works. He is fantastic. It's just another really great complementary piece to the deck. Really great combo piece with Mantis. Doesn't require a counterblast for the ability. And I love his second ability as well, because it's a soft just paralyze. And I like that, but I like that it does it in tandem with Cybister. Obviously, like your whole goal is really to get Cybister off, but this is like a complementary bit to that. And also, if you look at Machining Ornamental, right? Machining Ornamental skill is, you know, on placement, Vanguard or Rear. You can either choose to have every unit be paralyzed, and your opponent can only stand 2 during the start of their turn. And then you can give the whole field 5k if they're all resting. So looking at the first skill from that, if you paralyze one of their more important rear guards, you actually limit the choices of what they can choose with Ornamental. And I actually really appreciate that as sort of like a interaction with everything else. And of course, all these units are resting, so Hercules restands them all at the end of this, which is just a phenomenal way to top it off. And we have the big boy. Now, he's not really great on Vanguard. He has a Vanguard ability, and if he's on Vanguard, you're not really getting your money's worth. It's going to be a very blank kind of swing forward, but the fact that all the machining cards gain boost, which means that Mantis is a 14k booster. I mean, your grade 3s are boosting for high numbers. You can call Stag Beetle to the back, call 2 resting units, and now Stag Beetle has a point in being, you know, rather than being front and center, you can give the front and center spots to units that are more important, like this guy. I love that to death. And he also just gains a flat out 10k, which means that, you know, he's 22k attacker, and then you're getting off Cybister's ability. I adore how this works. This actually, you know, I'm now holding back my words here because I worded this to somebody and they took it the wrong way. I'm more intrigued and more excited to build this than Gridora, and by that what I mean is that my Gridora build, first impression, because CFA hasn't updated yet, has been pretty. I've been pretty confident in it since the first kind of round, since like the first like couple days of the set, the majority of her support being out. Now, I always kind of remained, I always kind of, you know, rather than counting my chickens before they hatched, I would just kept like a theoretical build in my mind as stuff came out. But I was really, it didn't take me long before I had a build in my head that I was confident in. But machining's different. Machining has a lot more interaction, a lot more combos, and a little more of like a surprise element to it. And I'm actually very intrigued to see how this deck goes. And I feel like I'm going to start testing this before Gridora, purely just because I'm really into how this deck plays. Now, of course, Gridora also, I mean, I'm giddy for that for Gridora. I'm so excited to play that. But this just has me like, it has my attention more right now. And I'm really interested in seeing what I can do with this, because I am super, super into how this deck works. I'm really into Cybister. I'm really into the artwork. I mean, look at this dude here, Scatterhorn, right? That dude is awesome. That is just straight up like a fleshy beetle in like a mech body. I love the Tony Stark beetle. He is so freaking cool. I adore this guy's art. I'm all together. I'm so into this. Then we got a freaking water bug. Like literally, they're just called water bugs. One of the scariest bugs in the freaking world. And this is a grade 1, right? But I adore the way this looks. It's a water bug, you know, submarine. And God, I am so into this. So with this being the last of the set roundup, right? General summary of the whole thing altogether is that Gridora obviously is looking like an absolute snack. The whole freaking deck is aggressive, it's mean, it's oppressive, you know, it completely weighs down your opponent. It has a ton of really cool combos. I'm really, really excited to see where that deck goes, because it has the potential to actually be very top tier, though I feel like I'm looking at a lot of people's builds, and I feel like a lot of people have the wrong idea of how things sort of work. I'll talk about it a bit later. I want to go, before I say anything stupid, I want to make sure I get actual testing out of the way. But basically, I'm looking at Darkface, and I'm not really loving the way he works. I feel like Darkface has the syndrome where he's not a bad card. He's just outclassed by other cards. There are other grade 3s that fill his role better than he does, and I'm holding that off because I don't genuinely know how that's going to work in the future. But there is a lot to take in here, and you know, even Kolio, right? Let's look at him, right? So genuinely, from the first impressions of what came out, he doesn't actually have direct interaction with a lot of things. He has Dova Speed, which I've already tested out, not great. Dova Speed just does not have any pressure to it. It's cute in theory, but it didn't work for me. I didn't like it. I would run, if I'm going to pay any type of cost on it, you know, for an interesting attack ability, I would just do Cyclomatooth or Stagger 7, who literally just gains 20k just flat. There are better things to interact with in Kolio, but I feel like all three builds have the potential to be extremely, extremely scary just from the little bit of, you know, sprinkling that each one has kind of gotten from this. Not Ghidorah obviously had the front center, you know, interaction, but I'm just very interested in seeing how this goes. I think that we have the potential to have a really interesting set of decks in our hands, and I am very much looking forward to testing them out. I think CFA is going to update pretty soon, but until then I'll have to hold a lot of my opinions and just keep everything kind of at face value. So before I go, my next video, I mean, God, who knows when it's going to come out, right? But I have a deck profile coming out, and I have two. One sooner, one a bit later than that. But after that, you know, so the next video after this is going to be the general channel update. I want to just do a complete summary of what is going to be going on from here on out, and I want to have a bit of transparency with the people that have been following me since a couple years ago. I mean, off and on. I'm really excited to see how this goes, and I think that we have a very interesting, you know, lineup of Vanguard ahead of us. So, until next time, folks, I will see you later.